What's up, everybody?
Hey.
Welcome to Relevant Rants. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being supportive. We love what we do here. Tom, I love being here with you.
I do too. We have Oliver. He's back in today.
Our company mascot.
Yeah, because I'm having some work done in my house because all you guys know I'm moving to Nashville. And, as we go through this, we're going to rant today, Mike.
We
are. So we want to give a shout out to our sponsor.
Covenant Coffee.
Covenant Coffee. Randy does a great job with Covenant Ministries.
And good coffee.
He does great coffee. Covenant Coffee, Covenant Ministries support emancipated foster youth who are going out into the world without the financial support that their foster parents were receiving. Some of them get put out on their own, but Randy Martin and the rest all take care of them.
They do.
Provide
mentoring, housing. Yep. Jobs, training, everything else. So
I am out there sharing and liking what we're doing right now. And if you would do the same thing, we'd appreciate that. And we got a great show for you today, Mike. I added this one for you because I think it's a fun moment. So let's go ahead and jump in with this video because we got a couple videos.
Tell Gabe which one.
The first one. Right there.
Okay, a bit of a history lesson.
You ready to learn?
Do you know that the women's teams were not allowed to have brackets until 2022?
Really?
Think about that. And talk about progress, better late than never, but progress. But you know what, how we love March Madness, and even just now allowing the women to have brackets and what that does to encourage people to talk more about the women's teams, to watch them. Now they're being covered, and this is the reality. People used to say, women's sports, who's interested? Well, if you can't see it, you won't be. But when you see it, you realize,
mind exploded.
When you see how stupid she is, you can't help but say, are you kidding me? Does anybody, this is the vice president of the United States. And
we need like a button with a clown show noise.
I can't believe she's saying that. Somebody's not going, hey, don't. Mike, you and I have been doing our show 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And we go over what we say, what we do. Today you fact checked me and I took something off, right?
Hey, I want to make sure that we're bringing the most relevant, most accurate information to you guys. Of course, this is an entertainment and opinion show more than it is, it's not necessarily a news show, but we're bringing relevant articles that we want to rant about, right? That's why we call it Relevant Rants.
Yeah, and we have a lot of things going on. But I just got to say, there's got to be somebody helping them. We're getting ready to put out some shows. We're actually working with Blexit, part of Turning Point property, and Pierre Wilson. We've had him on our show, and we're talking about we've met with Pierre 2 or 3 times, talking about the relevance of his show.
Yeah, we're excited. He's excited.
The guests that we're going to have, but we're not going to come out and just say things off the top of our head that are not right. But then let's think who her boss is.
His boss?
No.
Oh,
Kamala Harris.
Candace.
No.
No. Kamala Harris.
Yes.
Boss.
Yeah. There again with Blexit, Candace started Blexit, but Candace has got it together.
Yeah.
But Kamala Harris,
who is Kamala's boss?
I think it's a group of people because it's definitely not Joe Biden.
Yeah. Is it Xi Jinping?
I love that, Mike. So same bosses.
Gavin and Comrade Gavin.
So if you're out there and you know her and you can help her, tell her just to do a little homework on what she's presenting out there. And so I want to start out with a friend of our show, and they're at the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro. He said something very truthful and impactful this week. And I just want you guys to hear it because we're going to try to shape today's show around that.
Of Eden. It is a garden of Eden. It is an amazing place. And he is placed there to cultivate the garden. And it is his failures that lead to his banishment from the Garden of Eden. Not God's evil, not the gods conspiring against Adam. Adam's own failures lead to him being expelled from the Garden of Eden. It's why the stories of Adam and Eve and Cain and Abel are literally the most important stories in human history.
Ladies.
Because those particular stories explain all of human history. Because what do human beings do once they are expelled from the Garden of Eden? They start blaming conspiracy theories. Cain looks at Abel and he says, it's not fair that Abel's sacrifice was accepted by God, but mine was not. Must be some sort of unfair thing happening, and he kills Abel. Even though God explicitly warns him, maybe you should look at your own actions. Sin crouches at your door. Instead, you might want to look internally and try to figure it out. And actually, the lesson of Cain and Abel is that Cain eventually does that. He repents, and then he goes and builds cities. But that is what monotheistic religion did. Monotheistic religion said, God is good. The universe he created is good. If there is a problem in your life, there's like a 98% shot that you should do something about it. Right? Doesn't mean there aren't problems that are created by other people. And we should all find those problems created by other people. And we should fight those problems created by people. But there has to be evidence. We have to find pathways of fixing those problems.
Yeah.
But if there's something going wrong in your life, the first place you should look, before you look to quote unquote vague systems, before you go ghost hunting, you should look at you.
All the time.
Then monotheistic religion declines. And in its place, you don't get pagan gods. You get...
And we just cut it off there. But
we've seen it in the United States of America, them elevating liberalism as a god.
Well, transgenderism.
Right.
LGBT QT plus minus zero.
hashtag divided by sign.
So you're saying those social issues are more important than what God's are. I mean, there again, as Ben's talking about it, God came out and said, okay, you had sin, got to go put you out of the garden, but now I'm going to have a set of rules at one point when it came down to Moses that you need to live by. And then people see, that's what people don't want. They don't get told what to do.
Yeah.
I've been in the ministry 31 years, and I had a meeting with somebody yesterday, and they were wanting me to fix something that they had caused in their life about 15 years ago. And I go, there's consequences to that.
There is, sadly.
And I had to talk to two people that used to be married. And I said, well, this is a problem with sin. I mean, your marriage is just evolved, somebody sinned, but now we got problems that came from that. And let's look at each other or what their actions have been since then to make some sense out of it. Well, I'll tell you what, all I have to do is get up in the morning and I go to God and I start saying, Lord, and if I start to say, God, help me with my wife or kids, I think God's like, I got your attention right now. Let me talk about you.
Right.
And when they're praying to me, I'll talk about them, because that's what people don't want to do. They don't want to take responsibility.
I had Tom, I don't know if you remember this. I had a sign on my office door for years that said, you cannot control that which you refuse to accept responsibility for.
Yes. And so if you're out there and you got problems going on, maybe go look in the mirror. And I think the person staring back to you is that the Bible says that
the only person you can change is you.
Yes. And as you go and look at, the Bible says, when you look in a mirror, just don't leave and forget what you saw. It's like hearing the word, to be a doer of the word, not just a hearer, because just hearing it doesn't make anything. So it's not just saying I got a problem. It's going out and fixing your problem. And I'm not sure how that works for you. Mike and I prescribe to a faith system which involves Christianity. Let's play this next video.
Walking around London with that watch and no bodyguards could be a death sentence. You could get as drunk as you like by yourself in any bar in Bucharest with that watch on and no one's going to steal it. The Romanian people are good people, and Christianity is what helps hold the society together.
Okay. So the first couple times I saw that, I didn't understand it. I kind of get it, but go ahead and explain it to me.
Well, what he's saying to Tucker Carlson is, you got a nice watch there. You can't do that, and you can't wear that out in London because you'll probably get robbed and probably get assaulted and might get hurt. He said, might get killed. But he says you can go to a bar in Bucharest, and because they have a faith system that puts rules in place that they should follow, that no one's going to steal your watch if you get drunk and pass out.
Well, England used to have a faith system.
They did. So if you're out there choosing in something, you got to believe in something a little bigger than yourself. And you can't believe in what something man-made is going to do. And you could sit there and argue with me about Christianity's man-made, but I believe Christianity is God's attempt to reach out to man. Religion is man's attempt to reach up to God.
Well, I think every every legitimate attempt that's been made to disprove Christianity in the Bible has been created conversions.
Well, there again, I was talking to some people yesterday about the Lee Strobel's Case for Christ.
Right.
And he went and he started that he started a journey to disprove the stories about Christ, basically the Gospels.
And he ended up doing the opposite.
And he ended up opposite. Then there's another book, and I love this. It's called Scientists Who Believe. A group of scientists got together and said, we're going to disprove this theory about God. And they all ended up believing in what they were trying to disprove. So go out there, hammer against the Bible, because the human society has been doing that ever since the existence. They just want to disprove it. But I do believe, as Ben said, is that when you have a system in place, you're going to go to that system and you're going to be able to work through it. I love his idea about Cain and Abel, Mike. You know me, I like to work through these things, kind of in a way that I can understand. So you have Cain and Abel. So Cain brought produce.
Mm-hmm.
You and I have been in the farming business.
Yeah.
You don't just grow a little bit, you grow a lot.
Yeah.
So he picked some and came and gave it to God. Mm-hmm. And that's not a bad gift.
Yeah.
But Abel took a living, breathing life and sacrificed it, killed it, and brought that. And that was something he was depending on to produce more livestock that would help feed his family. So basically, what does that say, Mike? It says he's having to live by faith.
Yeah.
And I think that's what pleases God, not just saying, I'm just going to give you something that I just grabbed on my way out.
Well, the Bible says obedience is better than sacrifice.
And so when God was talking to Cain, he was saying, let's check that attitude of yours, young man.
Yeah.
He says, don't just run out there with this attitude that I've done something against you. Your brother's done something against you. Maybe just think that maybe you should have brought a little better sacrifice.
Yeah.
And I just liked his. I didn't say I disliked yours. I just liked his. So now, what is it called? Jealousy?
Yeah.
And so he does what? He kills his brother. But I like what Ben said. He goes, he repented and he went on to build cities. So it's not the problem that you're in. It's the not repenting of the actions that you have. And that goes across all boards, isn't it, Mike?
Yeah, it is. You brought up jealousy, and it always reminds me. My dad always said, jealousy is a weird emotion, and it makes people do weird things.
Yes. And revenge. What do they say? There's a lot of cultures that say, when you go out for revenge, you better dig 2 graves.
Yeah.
Because that's going to cost you too. So let's get along to a little more things that's affecting everybody. We're not going to go to the CNN article, because the CNN article says exactly what the next slide does, Gabe. So you bring it up, and this says, while inflation has hit Americans hard in the past few years.
Wait, what inflation? I thought there was no inflation.
Well, it's called Bidenomics. They don't say that anymore, though.
Oh, yeah. They're like, oh, wait, that's not a good thing.
They're finding out that.
But how long did it take them to figure out that it wasn't a good thing?
Well, I think that people just have to go to the gas station. Go to the grocery store.
Right.
My wife came back last week and complained. So
they like to blame that on Trump too.
Yeah. Well,
how does that work?
I basically, you got to blame somebody. It's like Ben was saying, blame somebody else. Well, Biden, look in the mirror. Democrats, look in the mirror. Liberals, progressive, look in the mirror. So it says cumulative inflation is up 18% since 2021. Now, CNN says the same exact thing. So they're your biased media for the Communist News Network. So the inflation rate is based on Consumer Price Index data, which measures the cost of everyday items that Americans tend to buy. That was March 11th, 2024, just a few weeks ago. So that was up, and this comes from CNBC.
Yeah, which is a known liberal source.
Yeah, you can't even trust these knuckleheads at these outlets because they're so biased. And they're again,
you can trust them when they're talking negative against their own.
Yeah. So inflation is a real thing. And you know what that adds up to, Mike? And I used to be really good at math, that I'm not so more. So I took some time to figure this out. It means every American is spending between $20,000 and $23,000 more. Now, I don't know about you, but I haven't gotten a raise for $23,000 this year. Have you?
No.
So if you're out there, we're spending money we don't have.
Well, and there was something I meant to screenshot it and never got a chance to send to you, but it kind of compares like, back in, 1975, 1980, like what the home prices were, what the relative income prices were.
I was living during those times.
You were probably,
dinosaurs were roaming the earth.
How old were you? Like 40 back then?
No. In 76, I was 18.
Yeah. But anyway,
voted liberal, voted Democrat.
We forgive you for that.
I was 18.
Didn't have any sense yet.
Well,
but so it looked at that and then compared it to what it is today, and it's very evident that interest rates are up, inflation's up, prices of homes are up, prices of groceries are up, but incomes are not up.
Well, let's just go to the next slide, because this one's going to get you here, because you sent it to me.
Yeah.
In-N-Out Burger and Burger King and other chain locations in California raised their prices after the minimum wage increase. So we're at $20 here. So Mike, I told you 3 weeks ago, I went ahead and treated myself, and I haven't had a Big Mac in a long time. So I went out and ordered 2 Big Macs, 2 fries, 2 Diet Cokes,
Jeez.
$42.
Yeah.
And that was before the minimum wage increase. So how are people now? This is California, but I'm going to warn you guys something, because if you think Biden is possibly running, yesterday Joe Rogan came out and said that obviously Gavin Newsom's running. So I'm going to warn you, if you want this in all your other states, just vote for Gavin Newsom. California is a disaster.
I think everybody knows this.
But they think that if they don't vote for, if they vote for somebody else besides Trump, it's going to be better.
Right.
It's going to be worse, folks. You can't be kidding me that you could look at California and say there's anything besides the beauty of our state that's any good anymore.
You ever see those posts on Facebook? Say, hey,
am I ranting?
You are. It says, everybody say, hey, where are you from? And they'll all put their state, and I just put a picture of a dumpster fire, and they're like, oh, California, huh?
So if you want this coming to a city near you, vote.
But the thing is, everyone's like, oh, well, wages have gone up. No, really, relative to everything else, they haven't. And the thing is about this, it's prices are going to increase because corporations, businesses do not pay for expenses. The buyers pay for the expenses, because as a business owner, I'm a business owner.
Pass it on.
You have to make a profit, right? So who's going to pay for the expense increase? All of you guys, the consumers, right? But it's not just that extra $20 an hour that they're paying, right? They're eliminating jobs. That's a whole nother subject. But it's exponential because now the cost of transportation, the cost of supplies, the cost of everything else is going up. So it's not just going to go up by the percentage that the wages were increased. It's going to go up by a bigger percentage than that. So really, reality is, everybody said, oh, well, they got a raise from $16 an hour, which is already insane, by the way, from $16 an hour to $20 an hour. They actually ultimately ended up with the price decrease, but this is all to get more taxes.
So Oliver peeked his head up, because I think he's thinking the dog food's going up.
It's going up.
It is. So if you're out there, just do a fact check. Just go out and fill up gas and see where it leaves you at the end of the day, in a better spot or a worse spot than
4 years ago,
or even a month ago. I mean, it's rising quickly out there, and people don't want to recognize that. And of course, Joe Biden says, I think he thinks I think he thinks Trump was in office like yesterday or last month. I think it's like, it's a predecessor. I mean, it's like, no, it's you, dude. So let's go to the next one, because I think it's going to bring our point in with California. So California is going to cut spending on education. So this is something.
But they're not cutting spending on supporting illegal immigrants.
Well, Mike, as you were talking, they're giving jobs out to illegal immigrants.
Police jobs, enforcement jobs on the citizens to non-citizens.
Well, but we've even seen that Tyson has done that. I mean, I think that company, I think we did a show on that a few weeks ago, where they are now giving some jobs out to illegals.
But you know what I can say? People, the liberal may watch this show and they say, well, you guys are against the Mexicans. First of all, 2 points. One, I just got back from a house building project in Mexico. How many of y'all done that?
And my daughter's last name is Jimenez.
Yeah. So there's that. But not only that, it's a known and proven fact that it's not just Hispanics coming into America. It's illegals from all over the world, and several of them are terrorists, and several of them have committed violent crimes, including murder, rape, and other things.
Well, Mike, I'm going back to California because my wife's a superintendent, and so they've been having superintendent meetings talking about the budget cuts, but they don't know anything about the budget cuts yet. This is current news right off the top of the press.
Yeah.
My wife's like, so what do we know is happening? They're like, we don't know anything. And like, so isn't this the guy? My wife says that she throws away expired pandemic supplies that they rushed into the school, said they had to have. Now
they probably spent billions of dollars.
Now they're warehousing them. And my wife goes, I opened up a couple of those sanitizers that they had. So apparently they didn't, I mean, sometimes I think, how's alcohol expire, But she says she goes, it stinks really bad.
Yeah.
So there was more in these things than that. And I'm not even going there, but I'm just saying they spent so much on that. They're now going to have to dispose of it, but they spent all the money that they now need on the pandemic, which was pretty much fabricated. We see that now. We all know. Where's Fauci, Mike?
He's in hiding.
I read a couple of theories that think he might be dead. It's alleged. So
Could be.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, shouldn't they have looked into this more and find out who was responsible for that? They really don't give a crap. I don't know.
Not.
Well, they found a laboratory here in like California? 2 hours from us.
Yeah.
And it was Chinese owned, and they had some really nasty viruses in there.
They were manufacturing viruses.
And they got caught by an inspector. Well, but I'm just saying. So here is Governor Newsom saying 2 years ago, I got a surplus. Go out there and keep spending on education. And then bam, he says, no, I made a mistake, or my accountants made a mistake. And now we have a $36 billion deficit. How I can't even, I mean, I can't run my household.
How do you make that much of a math error?
I don't know, Mike.
Maybe you're giving it to somebody
else. But now they're going to say that education is going to suffer. Hasn't it suffered enough?
Everybody's. I was just talking with Mike Green about that this morning. How the percentages are increasing of people that are leaving the public school system to go into homeschooling.
Well, they are, Mike. And you know what is even, I saw this. It was there was a study out there. I'm not going to say it because I do believe it was Ivy League, but they're saying that the employers are not requiring college diplomas anymore. And I do believe a couple have come out this week. I think like Walmart, maybe Costco. And they're realizing that they're not getting an education; they're getting a credential.
They're not getting an education; they're getting an indoctrination.
Well, but they're getting a credential that says you should hire me because I got this. Well, that used to mean I had educated. Now, if you're out there, and I always wondered about the Harvard or the Manhattan law firms, because they've always hired Ivy League lawyers. I mean, I actually had one that worked for me years ago when I was in the corporate world, an Ivy League lawyer, very smart and very capable, but he got an education.
Yeah,
that's back in the late 80s, early 90s. So they're not getting an education now; they're getting an indoctrination, and parents are getting tired of paying for it, Mike.
Well, that's okay, because Biden's wiping that away. The parents won't have to pay for it anymore. We'll pay for it.
So, Mike, answer me this. How did the education environment raise their prices during the pandemic when the students didn't come to class and they just Zoomed?
I don't know.
When you raise your prices, you add value, right? I just
yeah.
know what we do here at 511 Media Group. Yeah. So they didn't add any value, but they raised their prices. It's like, how'd they get away with that? Now they want to relieve the debt from the students because you know what I think, Mike? I'm just going to throw this out there. I think we're in a society that wants to see average Americans broke because they want them depending on the government for sustenance, right?
Yeah.
And so
yeah, they do.
And so when you get a people depending on the government for sustenance, there builds a dependence, right?
Well, do you remember the thing that they were talking about a while back? California is going to own like a certain percentage of your houses. Do you remember that? Okay, so I just saw recently that California's put out a new thing where they're going to pay up to $150,000 of your home price.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I wonder why they're doing that.
Yeah, they want to own everything. They want you dependent on your living, your housing,
then they control you,
your food, your electricity.
Well, what does the Bible say about that? The borrower is slave to the lender.
Mm-hmm. And so as we're out there, they want electric cars.
Which leads us into one of the other articles we're going to talk about in a little bit too.
They want the electric cars so they can turn that off. They can't do it with the combustible engines. So guess what BMW's done? Our friend John Haddad and the Bachelor Tasha's own Bakersfield BMW, and BMW's come out with that hydrogen engine.
Interesting. I always wonder when they would come out with something like that.
Well, they're forced to because they find out electric doesn't work. I had one of the first BMW electric cars, and what do I think of that, Mike?
You hated it.
There's an emoji that's shaped like this on the internet.
Poop emoji?
Yeah, poop emoji. And the owner of BMW, Chuck Haddad, asked me just to kind of drive it and see what I thought about it. Yeah, demo it. And I go, your salesman shouldn't be selling this car. It doesn't work. Then it got 99 miles to the gallon of the charge until you turn on the air conditioning.
And then it went down to 75.
Or the heater. Or the
and then it went down
warmer.
again. And it went down again.
You were very quick.
You might be able to drive to work.
Yeah. I asked the guy the other day who was a friend of ours that is getting a Tesla truck, and it's because he really loves it. And,
I have a friend of ours that has a Tesla truck, Tom.
Well, I think So he said, and I asked, does it tow anything? He says, yeah, 10,000 pounds. I go, so they tell you what the charge will go down to when you tow 10,000 pounds? I go, it's going to be a lot more than you're getting. I guarantee you.
Right.
Yeah. So, because that 10,000 pounds costing you in charging miles. So the hydrogen is coming out, and BMW produces electric cars. Saw a really cool looking one this morning. I wouldn't own it, but they're coming out and saying, hey, we're going to scrap that. And we're going to go to hydrogen. Right after they said, oh, the electric cars are it. They just want to turn it off. So let's go to the next one. So we've got a gal that's going to prison because she found Ashley Biden's diary. And isn't the problem finding Ashley Biden's diary because she's going to jail because she was keeping it. So if she's going to jail for Ashley Biden's diary, doesn't that prove that it's Ashley Biden's diary?
I would think so. I think that would be a fair assumption.
Aren't they worried about what Ashley wrote in her diary?
Well, of course not.
Well, because she wrote some interesting things that says, I was molested.
Yeah.
At a
does that surprise anybody?
At a young age, showers with my dad. Probably not appropriate. I would say no. You and I'm a daughter dad.
I'm a daughter dad.
And I didn't go near when my girls were undressed.
Not even and like at a very young age, mom's the only one that goes in there.
Yeah, I mean, I change their diapers when they're little.
Yeah, sure, but when they're old enough to dress themselves, you're out, Dad.
And so I got a problem with
You're
this.
Definitely not showering with her.
So this came from Libs of TikTok, and she's not a liberal. She just points out this insanity, but what the liberals putting out there. But she even said she felt it was probably not appropriate, and also questioned if she was molested. Well, then we should investigate that, right?
Yeah.
But they're not going to investigate Joe Biden, right?
Of course not. No, he's not competent to stand trial. Only competent to run the country, but he's not competent to stand trial.
Because he's an old senile man.
Right.
Go figure that one out. So Whoopi Goldberg had another problem this week.
Going back to the borrower slave to the lender.
Yes. Go ahead. This is your gig.
Yeah. So Whoopi said the Republicans want to bring slavery back. The interesting part about this is anybody with half a brain,
now, no, a whole brain.
Yeah. Well, even half a brain. Whoopi's excused from this because she doesn't have half a brain, but knows that first of all, Republicans are the ones that have ended. That did slavery. Second of all, we have subject matter experts that are part of our team, part of our crew that roll with us, that roll deep, and they have an entire organization built around exactly the truth behind this, and that is, and we're friends with several black people, right?
Yeah. Well, Pierre Wilson, who is the director, the national director, we're doing a podcast for.
But the Democrats are the ones that are still enslaving black people, just in a different way, and really financially through support and through removing the fathers from their homes, through the whole abortion thing was all a racist thing, and frankly today it still stands as a racist thing. So who's the one that is not bringing back slavery? Because slavery still exists to a degree, a large degree, much more so than you think. And in fact, there's human trafficking, which is going on because of the open borders, who's causing and allowing that? The Democrats. Regardless, slavery is not being brought back. Slavery already still exists in America today on multiple levels with multiple people groups, and it's brought by the liberals, not by the Republicans.
Well, that's what Abraham Lincoln, he was part of the Republican Party because it was for the Republic. And the Democrats were part of the succession problem with the southern states.
Well, they like to lie and pivot and twist the facts.
They don't want to. Just when they were canceling things and going back and canceling the Confederacy, I'm like, you started the Confederacy.
Yeah.
The Democratic Party should get canceled.
Those who do not remember history are doomed to repeat it.
And they were responsible for the Ku Klux Klan. And if you go back far enough, listen to Biden, who has a supporter that was very influential.
He was a Klan member
in the Ku Klux Klan. Now Biden will say, I didn't do anything with him. I go, oh, come on. If you go back and listen to something, and I think that's what they think, because Blexit is talking about helping the Black community that has voted Democrat for 60 years have an ability to sustain themselves and get away from.
Well, and Pierre says himself, and many of these people that are becoming educated about the facts realize they were always conservative. They were just indoctrinated to, well, we always vote Democrat.
Yeah, because I think even Pierre, go back and look at our show with Pierre Wilson. I think it was a couple weeks ago.
Well, and we'll have Pierre on in the future on Relevant Rants as a subject matter expert. You had him on last week, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I had him on Relevant Rants. Go back and check that out. But let's go a little further. If we can't, now this is what I tell everybody who comes and wants to disagree with stuff you and I say. I go, do some fact checking and come back to me and see if we were wrong. No one's ever came back to me, Mike.
No.
Where's Larry at?
He ghosted us.
Larry came out and tried to beef with this, and we just gave him a couple
truth bombs.
Well, we just gave him a couple tough truths. I mean, sometimes the truth is hard. You have to give it in love, but he couldn't accept that, so he just vanished. I like having a conversation with Larry. I mean, Larry, if you're out there, come back.
So we got one more article here.
One more. Crime is rampant if you don't think so. So this happened in our wonderful state of New York. New York and California.
Isn't that really just like, it reminds me every day more and more of Gotham City? It's like the inmates are running the asylum.
Well, you could say, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, that New York is a bookend and California a bookend for the liberal agenda. So it says
Chicago.
So here's a surveillance video that shows a woman, and we could have run the video, but the video is very disturbing because he's just punched her in the face and she falls back and hits her head on the concrete.
Yeah.
And so she was going to a church, something that should be safe to do anywhere in America. And she gets attacked and robbed outside of New York City. This is a thug. This is a vermin. This man should be prosecuted and thrown the book at. But guess what? They probably won't. He probably won't spend a day in jail.
Right.
I'm not even sure they found him. Mike, when I was going through this, I could have found hundreds of videos that shows California and the rampant crime. And so now they're trying to fix it with a few bills that are out there. And I love our DA, district attorney in Bakersfield, Cindy Simmer, because she's come out and trying to overturn that nonsense bill that they passed with Children's Act, and they got to lessen crime and penalty for or punishment for crimes because they lied to the people on the description of the bill. Now they have to send it back to the voters. So I hope if you're voting for it, you read it this time, because it's not something they're helping kids.
How many people you think are going to read it, Tom?
I don't know. I would hope, man. I've got 31 years invested in the hope of people.
Yeah,
I do. There again, I've been a pastor and I'm a believer for 34 years, been in the ministry for 31. And I do believe people have a hope that they can change. So what we see is people that don't want to change committing crimes. And we have a place for that called prison.
Yep.
And I was a chaplain for the Department of Corrections.
Unless you're in California.
Here in California. And I went in and loved on these guys, helped them. We had a good friend that helped me with that, who was, now on the other side of incarceration, but getting out soon. But there again, there's got to be punishment for crimes. I mean, how do you discipline your kids? And, hey, starting this Monday, check us in on Mentality Unleashed with Dr. Jonathan Rizzo, because we're talking about parenting. I'm his first guest. I didn't see that. So
that's awesome.
I saw the and I love talking about parenting, because my kids will tell you there was consequences for things that were against our rules in house, and they learned them and they took them into their world, and they seem to both be very successful, because I do believe they'll attain it back to knowing the difference between right and wrong. And we have a bunch of people in America who don't know the difference between right and wrong. Yeah. And we have people that are supporting him in that effort.
Yeah.
Wasn't Kamala Harris our attorney general in California? I got to question that one.
Clown show.
It is. So, Mike, you want to send us out?
Yeah. Hey, y'all, thanks for watching. You have any questions, any comments, any disagreements you want to share with us? Let us know. We'll be happy to respond to those.
We have tough skin.
We do. Anyway, have a great day, guys. God bless.
God
Talk
bless.
to you soon.